want to go to the Senate Minority Whip, John Thune, what he makes of this. Senator, always good to have you, and thank you for taking the time. I know this is the House, sir, and this is the battle over selecting a speaker, but it doesn't look good. And I'm wondering what you think the impact is going to be.
Well, yeah, I hope they can get this resolved and get it resolved soon, Neil. The last thing House members want are senators commenting on their internal deliberations. Steve Scalise is a friend. I wish him well, but no, I'm not gonna take that bait. But I just think it's really important, and I really hope that even the people over there who aren't happy with the current set of options in terms of leadership rally around a solution, because the longer this remains open, I think the more complicated it becomes, in particularly with everything that's going on in the world and all the important issues that we need to deal with, both in the House and the Senate.
Indeed, one of them being the fears of another government shutdown, because the clock ticks away on this measure that kept the lights on, presumably, right up until around Thanksgiving. Now, that could be in doubt. Are you worried that we could be facing a shutdown?
Again, I think we ought to do everything we can to avoid a shutdown. A shutdown doesn't benefit anybody, but we do have a short fuse to work with here. I mean, we're looking at, basically a month and a lot of appropriations bills to cover. In my view, the Senate should have been in session this week. We aren't. The leader was traveling abroad. That being said, the House, of course, is working on resolving this leadership issue. But soon as everybody hits the ground next week, I hope both House and Senate are ready to roll up their sleeves, go to work, pass individual appropriation bills, or have as normal of an appropriations process as possible so that we can avoid a government shutdown. But that assumes a certain amount of cooperation and consensus, and I hope we can achieve that, because, again, nobody benefits from a government shutdown, and we've got a short amount of time in which to resolve this.
Not too long ago, The Hill had reported that you've been the one flexing the muscle, in the shadow of this what's not only going on in the House, but even the leadership and concerns about Mitch McConnell's health, and that you're emerging as the Republican go-to guy in the Senate. That's a double-edged sword, but how do you feel about that?
I think that we are a team, the Senate Republican Conference. We have a lot of people. We have a very diverse conference, people with lots of different views. What we try and do in the end is, listen, synthesize those views, and try and come up with a plan. And I think that when we do, essentially, or generally, I should say, emerge with a consensus, we all get out there and get behind it, which is what we did the last time on the last government shutdown deadline. And this won't be any different. We'll have a conversation when we get back about best path to proceed. Hopefully we'll get on some appropriation bills, start voting on amendments, get them across the Senate floor, and possibly, hopefully, into a conference with the House of Representatives where we can actually produce some results that we might be able to put on the president's desk. But it's a team sport, and clearly, in order for us to succeed, we've got to have everybody pulling in the same direction. And eventually we get there. Sometimes it takes longer. But ultimately, we all realize, I think, that it's in everybody's best interest to keep the government up and operating, and do it in a way, hopefully, that is in the best interest of the American taxpayer, and that is by operating in a fiscally responsible way, not spending any more money than is absolutely necessary.
Do you worry when you call it a team sport? Obviously, the team must have discussed what's going on with Mitch McConnell and concerns about some of his memory lapses and the rest, and he's getting up there. The president's, showing his age at his age. A lot of people are looking at some of the comments in Donald Trump on the road, that maybe he's showing his age, talking about Hezbollah being very smart, linking the Israeli attacks to a rigged U.S. election. Only reason why I mention this is this concern within the party for some of your stalwarts maybe, kind of losing it.
Well, Senator McConnell is the Republican leader. We voted for him. He's elected as our leader. And again, I work as much as I can, both me and working with him personally, but also our staffs, to try and keep everybody on the same page. And as I said, we have a lot of diverse views within our conference.
I understand that, but do you think he's up to that job, Senator? Do you think he's up to that job?
He is. There's no question about that, and he demonstrates that on a weekly basis.
And his comments, do you think that's up to the performance of a presidential candidate to say what he has said?
I think everybody in this business, if you're in public life, you're sometimes going to make misstatements. That comes with the territory. But yeah, Donald Trump is perfectly capable of making the statements. I think he generally says what he wants to say. And I think that, again, as we think about people who are elected leadership positions, we think about the presidential campaign or other campaigns across the country, we need people who are going to be willing to, in the end, try and focus on solutions. We need to be solutions oriented. Ultimately, we're going to be measured by getting results. And that requires a level of cooperation. And I think we have perfectly capable leaders in this country who are, I think, hopefully interested in doing that. And if we're going to achieve results for the American people, that's what it's going to require. So people can say what they want to say, publicly. It's a free country, and elected leaders have that liberty and that freedom.
That's a former leader,
but in the
senator
end, when it comes
of the
time
free
to
world.
actions,
That's a former president of the United States saying these things about Hezbollah, repeating the name Barack Hussein Obama constantly at a West Palm Beach speech. Is that constructive behavior, criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu and this environment at this powder keg moment? Is that behavior and wording that you want to hear out of your likely Republican nominee for president of the United States?
All I'm simply saying, Neil, is I don't think his age has anything to do with that. I think he's making statements he wants to make, and yes, I mean I don't view Hezbollah or Hamas to be smart. I view them to be evil and depraved. That's how I would characterize it. It's he has under our Constitution, the liberty to say what he wants to say, and he can be judged for it. And I think that's what the American people are going to have to do. And they're going to have an opportunity to do that in a presidential election that's coming up ahead of us. But I think how you characterize things in an environment like this, sort of a high-threat environment, if you look at the dangers that we face around the world, is important. And I hope people, as they look at these leaders, will make decisions and conclusions based upon who they think is best able to manage not only the United States of America and our domestic challenges, but the global stage where the rest of the world looks to the U.S. for leadership.
All right. Senator John Thune, thank you very much, sir. Very good catching up with you. Senator John Thune,
you too.
on
Thanks,
that.
Neil.
Thank you.